Welcome to lesson 3 of Stupid Simple Google Ads. We're going to be going over how to create your ads and creating ad extensions for your new campaign. So I'm going to jump right in. On your new campaign over here in the dark gray column, click on the campaign and then make sure your ad groups section is open. Make sure ad groups is selected, and you're going to want to click into one of your ad groups. Doesn't matter where you start. I'm starting with my virtual assistants ad group just to kind of, because I like to start general and then do things and then go to more specific things after that. So I'm going to click on my virtual assistants ad group. By default, it probably will open up your list of keywords that you have listed in there. That's okay. Just click on ads and extensions and then make sure ads is selected. And what I like to do for the stupid simple method is to create 3 text ads. And the reason I like to create 3 is basically they're all very similar with slight variations in the headline copy. And that's something that Google recommends, is having at least 3 ads per ad group. Because that way it gives Google an opportunity to find which ad is performing better than the others, and then it will give more priority to that ad. You know, if it has like a better click-through rate or it generates a lower cost per click, it's going to prioritize showing that ad to people over the other ones, just to get you better results. And if you didn't have more than one, you couldn't really test that. So I'm just going to click the blue plus button and then click on text ad. We're going to ignore the other kind of ads for now, and just start with regular text ads. So this is the editor that you will see for your ads. And obviously you have a few different components. You have your final URL, which is the URL of the landing page where you want people to go once they click on your ads. You have 3 headlines. You have a display path, which basically allows you to add on like names for pages that, people, if they're clicking on, it's basically helps people to understand what they can expect. So it's going to show your regular URL, and then you can add any kind of path to it, even if it's not the real URL. Something explanatory that will help people get a better idea. It just looks nicer than if you have a really long string of letters and numbers or something. This makes it nice and short and compact and understandable. Then you have 2 descriptions. So the most important part of these text ads is your headline by far. As you can see in the example over here on the right, the headlines are big and blue, and they're the first thing that people see, whereas the descriptions are kind of light gray and they're smaller text. So I'm going to say that the vast majority of what people are looking for is in the headlines. It's probably pretty rare that people actually read all your descriptions. And the other downside to descriptions as well is that depending on where the ad shows up, if it's on like a mobile browser or something, or even if your ad is not in the first position on the page or something like that, um, Google will sometimes truncate your descriptions. It'll cut off, a portion of it because it's too long. It'll just have an ellipsis. Whereas your headlines shows up all the time. So headlines are the most important thing. The thing, I could make an entire other course on how to write ad copy that is going to make people click. But the main thing you want to remember is that your ad copy needs to catch attention, and it needs to give people a good reason to click, and it needs to be relevant to what they're searching. So that's why it's really important to have ad copy that closely reflects the keywords you're targeting in your ad group. You don't want to have ad copy that doesn't mention anything about the keywords. That doesn't make any sense. Somebody searches for a search term and they're expecting to see ads that are promising what they search for. And likewise, you want your ads to also reflect what people are going to find on your landing page. So many people do this where they have their keywords and their ads match up, but then they just send people to a landing page that is hardly even recognizable from what people were expecting when they clicked on the ad. So make sure that the customer journey from search to ad to landing page is very consistent. You need to follow. I always tell people that their ad copy, or your landing page needs to follow through on what your ad copy promises them. So I'm just going to type up really quickly some ads here. And another good practice to do is to include some kind of a call to action in your ad copy too. So let me start typing up here. Final URL is going to be getitdoneright.org/virtual assistants. So that's an actual landing page that people would land on. headline 1, I'm going to say done right virtual assistants, just my brand name. The second headline, I'm going to say, here's my call to action, or my my unique selling proposition. Find your VA soulmate. And then lastly, I'm going to say 33% off deal for new clients. So that gives people a reason to click, right? I'm going to ignore the display path. I like it, and you can see it in the preview over here, getitdoneright.org. That's fine. I could add something to it, virtual assistants, but I don't really, it's not too important. Description, I'm going to say, and like I said, put most of your time and effort into writing really good headlines, and then descriptions. Obviously you want them to be good, but they're not the lifeblood of your ads. So I'm going to say nightmarish to-do lists, fragmented attention. So these are just kind of expanding on, or it's kind of pinpointing those pain points that people might have. Terrible work-life balance. Find your perfectly oops, I forgot. Sorry, I need to put this in the next section here because I'm running out of space. Find your perfectly matched virtual assistant to rescue you from your pile of busy work. And then don't click save ad and create next ad, because we're going to actually we're going to duplicate this ad a couple times and then make small tweaks to it. So just save it. And now we've created that ad within the virtual assistants ad group. So now what you want to do is you want to create 2 duplicates. So click the checkbox next to it, go to edit, copy, click that X, and then do paste. And it's going to ask you where you want to paste it. So click on the campaign, Done Right VA's contact. Make sure virtual assistants, the ad group that we're wanting to paste it in, which is the same one we created the first one in, that's checked. If you wanted to, you could paste it into multiple ad groups, but we don't want to do that right now. We just want to paste it back into the original. And make sure that this here is ticked. If ad already exists in destination, create duplicate. Without that checked, it wouldn't actually paste your ad. Because it's just a duplicate, but you do want the duplicate because we're going to change it. So click paste. And it takes its sweet time. And we're going to actually do this one more time. For some reason, there's no just duplicate function. So we just have to go through the process of copying it and pasting it again. And then we're just going to make small tweaks to each new version. Make sure to tick that, click paste. So right now, they're all the same. But what I like to do is I like to go in and just change some of the wording in the headlines. Leave the description the same. Again, it's not that important. So click on the little pencil icon next to one of your new ones, click on edit. And I'm just going to kind of do some shuffling here and play around with how the headlines are. So I'm going to say, you know what, let's move this Find Your VA Soulmate up to the top portion. And then in the second portion, I'm going to say Done Right Virtual Assistants, my company name. And then I'm going to change this wording for this special deal just a little bit. So I'm just going to say 33% off your first month. And that's it. Save it. Okay, now let's change the other duplicate one. For this one, I'm going to say, move Find Your VA Soulmate up to the top. For the second one, I'm going to say a new thing, free matchmaking consultation. And then here, do a call to action, schedule yours today. You just never really know what's going to resonate with people. That's why you have different versions. Okay, so now I have 3 slight variations on my new ad for my virtual assistants ad group. So now what you want to do to make it easier on yourself, instead of having to go through and make ads from scratch for every single ad group, is tick the box up here to select all of them, go to edit, copy, and then choose one of your other ad groups probably easiest to start out with ones that are similar to your first one. So I'm going to go to personal assistants. That's pretty similar to a virtual assistant. And then click on paste here. Make sure the correct ad group is selected, personal assistants. Paste. And now what you're going to do is you're just going to edit these ads and make slight tweaks to make them match the keywords that are in this next ad group. So luckily, because virtual assistant and personal assistant are very similar, there's not a whole lot I have to do. I'm not going to do it because it would just take a lot of time. But all I would have to do is go through and edit each of these and basically swap out some terms. So for example, instead of saying find your VA soulmate, maybe I would say find your PA soulmate. Blah, blah, blah. And then the next one, Done Right Virtual Assistants. That's obviously my company name. I'm not going to change that. But maybe in the description, find your perfectly matched personal assistant to rescue you from your pile of busy work. So as long as they're related, you can oftentimes just get away with just swapping out some of the terms. And that's the same thing. You're going to want to do this, repeat this process for every ad group that's in your campaign, and only change as much copy as you have to. You just want to make sure that the copy that is in your ads matches the keywords basically. And if you do have to do a little bit more changing, don't do this to a fault where it's like you want to avoid as much work as possible. So it's like some of the wording starts to get awkward because you're only switching out certain words. If you really need to change the wording, then do it. You want the ad to be good and natural. But that's just an easy way to do it. For most businesses, I mean, it's going to be pretty easy because they're not going to offer a huge range of services that are totally different. So the next thing you're going to want to do is create some ad extensions. Okay, so go ahead and click on your campaign up here because we're gonna want to decide whether we apply these extensions at the campaign level or at the ad group level. I'll explain what I mean by that in just a sec. Okay, and there's only so Google gives you many options for different kinds of extensions, and extensions are basically just little add-ons that get tacked onto your ads sometimes when they show up in the search results page. And you can't really control which ones show up. Google kind of decides on its own which ones to show at which time. But basically, what you need to know about extensions is that they're just little add-ons that kind of add extra context and extra information about your business for somebody searching. And generally, Google claims they help you get better click-through rates. So we're going to use them. So click on your campaign, click on extensions under ads and extensions, and then click the plus button. Now here's where you can choose from all different kinds of extensions. There's only a few extensions that I recommend. So that's going to be anchor links, call extensions, and call outs. And so basically, I'm sorry, not anchor links, a site link extension. And what this means is that sometimes when your ad shows up, there will be right beneath it, there will be multiple site link extensions that if people were to click on one, it would lead them to a different page on your website. Call out extensions are basically just little tiny 15 character long descriptions that you can add. So for example, like free shipping or serving the Portland area, or things like that just add a little bit more information. And then also a call extension is where you can put, if your main goal for your campaign is to get people to call you, a call extension adds your phone number and a button that if people are on their mobile device, when your ad shows up and there's a call extension on there, they can just call you straight from the ad instead of clicking on your ad and going into your website first, which can be handy. So I'm not going to go through the process of creating those because it's pretty straightforward. You choose one, you put in the necessary information, and then you can apply it to your ads. The one thing that I will say, though, is important to take into consideration is you can apply these extensions at either the account level, the campaign level, or the ad group level. What that means is that if you apply your extensions at the account level, those extensions could possibly show up on any ad in your account. If you apply it at the campaign level, the extensions will show up possibly on any ad within that one campaign, not within other campaigns. And then if you apply it at the ad group level, you get the idea. It's only going to be, those extensions will only be applied to the ads within that ad group and not to other ads within that, not to other ad groups within that campaign. Um, for most businesses, you're probably going to want to apply these at either the account or the campaign level, because, for example, your phone number, like your call extension, you're probably going to have one phone number for your business, and so that's one that you're fine with that one phone number showing up on any of your ads that you show. Um, but if you have, let's say, uh, a different branch of services or something, and therefore maybe um, different personnel or different services, you might want to sort that based on your campaigns. So you have one campaign for one website that you have, and then another campaign for another website. So you wouldn't want the same extensions showing up on both those campaigns. So that's kind of up to you. Make that decision. I like to, most of the time, I apply mine at the campaign level. So that is it for creating ads and extensions. The next lesson, which is lesson 4, is going to be on changing your keyword match types to broad match modified, which is very important, and I'll explain that why in the next lesson. And so I will see you there.